breiten Faust an Lanzenschaft, die Zügel in der Linken, so springt des Reiches Ritterschaft und ihre Schwerter blinken. Heya, 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 und ihre Schwerter blinken. Heya, 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 und ihre Schwerter blinken.
Hello and welcome to Lecture Rondi Lecture Credendi. I'm Kenny, and this is first attempt at making a full-on video in a while. I've had some trouble with my phone, but since I haven't come up with any new ideas for shorts, my creativity level is a little on the low, so it's hard for me to come up with different ideas on a regular basis. I tend to get stuck in a cycle of an idea, usually because of things like what is going on recently, where the heretics, the Protestants, are coming out of the woodworks and just attacking Catholics for doing nothing more than, posting something on Twitter or Facebook about the Blessed Virgin Mary or the Eucharist, or just stating the obvious that, you need to become Catholic. And I find myself defending both myself as well as other Catholics against these people. Now, maybe I'm going a little too far in my defense and just relentlessly going after these people whenever they do that. But whenever I see Protestants coming in and, attacking Catholics whenever we haven't really even said anything to them, because generally speaking, most Catholics don't say anything to Protestants unless the conversation just starts. It's an opportune moment type thing for us, whereas Protestants will go out of their way to hunt us down and challenge us, and they just don't accept any proof. But one thing that I have found lately, and this is something that maybe the rest of you can bear in mind, and that is, every time they bring up, where's that in Scripture, respond with, where in Scripture does it say that everything has to be in Scripture? Because if they truly believe in Scripture alone, then they should be able to find Scripture alone, found within Scripture alone. So, but not a few have actually tried to prove it, but it was completely out of context. I mean, aside from the fact that, at the time that most of the scriptures were written, the New Testament had not even been fully written. It was only partially written for the most part, because they're using the letters of St. Paul, for example. And then even then, the Bible wasn't even compiled. We didn't even know which ones were legitimately Scripture per se. I mean, there were a few of them that we knew for sure, of course, but as a general rule, there was a lot of debate over what was divinely inspired and what was not, what actually came from the apostles and what didn't. And so when they pull up scriptures like all Scripture is good for, teaching and instruction and all that, well, the problem is at the time that was written, the only Scripture they really had was the Old Testament. So unless you're only talking about the Old Testament, then that doesn't really fit. And then, another one that somebody threw at me is like, don't go beyond what is written. Well, yeah, okay, fine. But you also have to remember that letter was written to a specific group. And so Paul was writing to those people probably who were, he was trying to protect from, falling into heresy or apostasy or whatever because of some other whack job. And so, that's why he would have written something like that. Now, I mean, I'm willing to be corrected on that if somebody more knowledgeable than myself can give me a better explanation as to why that would be. But generally speaking, I found that, challenging them on scripture alone works, especially whenever they keep trying to ask, where's that in scripture? And then, uh, it is going to turn into like a 4-day debate if you do it online. Obviously, if you do it in person, it's not going to take that long. It might be a few hours or a day. But, that's just the nature of the beast when you're arguing with heretics who are determined that the Catholic Church is some kind of a false pagan religion. They're going to go after you, and it doesn't matter if what they're telling you makes any sense at all whatsoever. They're just going to keep saying it. But I have stumped quite a few. Right now, there's a particular pastor. I'm actually taking a break right now from dealing with these people just because it is the final week of Advent going into Christmas. And so that, of course, means that I need to be more focused on prayer and not, debating with these people. So hopefully y'all have kept up your fasting for Advent. Obviously not as rigorous as Lent, but, don't be drinking, don't be indulging in Christmas cookies. As a matter of fact, don't do anything Christmassy until after Advent. Hold all your Christmas parties until after Advent. There is no point to celebrating Christmas all through Advent, then Christmas Day, and then all the decorations come down, and then it's just no more Christmas. It's like, no, that's totally backwards. So hopefully y'all have been doing that kind of stuff, and if you haven't, please start. So I hope everybody has had a good Advent and good remainder of Advent, since we only have a few more days left. And, when the time comes after Advent, I know I'll be joining back in the fight against the forces of darkness, so to speak. They're not Protestants aren't really that great of a force. They're actually rather ignorant. I forgot, because I used to be Protestant. I forgot how ignorant Protestants were, and so now I'm I'm remembering all of the dumb stuff that I used to say when I was a Protestant, just by arguing with these people. Well, until next time, Deus Vult.